today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. Oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. Oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports. That's right, we're well into season 3 here and we're on with another very special guest. This is a different kind of show here, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. A different sport, different angle that we're going to get into here this evening. But I hope you are ready for Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports. Tonight, our special guest is Mr. Peter Holmgren. Peter, how you doing this evening? We have some connection issues here, but we're gonna get Peter on. Here we go. Peter, how you doing this
doing
evening?
Good, thanks.
Glad to have you here. Listen, you have an incredible story, and we really want to get it out to our viewers, our watchers of Between the Lines right here tonight.
I'm doing good, thank you.
Now we're gonna start off by trying to figure out, do you have any special nicknames? Because we got to be really comfortable here. Your name is Peter, but do you have any special nicknames?
Cool.
Anything
Happy to
friendly?
tell the story, man.
We missed that. Can you say that one more time for us? We seem to be having some internet problems here, but don't worry, we'll get that fixed.
Humbug.
Can you hear us, Peter?
You hear me? But humbug is from little chick kids. Yeah.
Ah,
Humbug.
okay, there you go.
You say some man named Holmberg. Say it locally. Say humbug.
Okay. Listen, I love the nickname.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you good. We got a little delay here.
Yeah.
All right. Good now, Peter. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a little bit of technical issues here. We're going to deal with that and fix it really quickly. But while you guys are here, you can still head over to the Livewire Sports page. We still have all of our honorees up from Virgin Islands History Month. We honored 31 women of the Virgin Islands who did exceptional things here. In the last month, we have a great list. Learn a little bit about the women of Virgin Islands History Month. It was a great month. Ending off with Aaliyah Boston, who won the national championship, a native Virgin Islander on a big stage. We had people like Gail Danette. We had a lot of different people. Ms. Taj Magangba, the national team head coach. We had a lot of different ladies that were exceptional and did their thing on a national stage, and we honored them as they should be honored every single day of the year. But we took our special time out to honor them during the Virgin Islands History Month and Women's History Month. Coming up next, we have a lot more in store for Livewire. The kids are back on the field. The coaches are back out there, so we have a lot more coverage of sports coming up from Livewire Sports as well. As well as we got some different programs coming up this summer for Livewire Sports that we're going to be involved in. So keep it locked to your page. Keep it locked to your favorite athletes. We have softball going right now. We have swimming going right now. We have basketball going right now. So keep it locked for your favorite athletes so you can see who's doing great both locally and abroad in sports. Livewire is the place to be if you want to keep up with any of your favorite athletes, both the athletes here in the Virgin Islands and those abroad. We go international. We go as far as China. We go as far as Asia. We go as far as Europe. We have the coverage of any of your favorite sport athletes. And if you would like to send in any stats or any pictures of your favorite athlete as well, you can inbox the Livewire Sports page and we can get those posted for you as well. Now we're going to go ahead and try to fix our internet issues right here really quickly. So we're going to go ahead and head to a commercial break really quickly and see if we can get our internet back up and running. All right. We are back here on Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. We have everything fixed now. We're ready to go. Thanks to our technical department back here at Live Wire Sports. We are ready to go. Peter, are you still here with us?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right, we good. You sound great now. I think we're ready to start the show. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling great. Thanks.
All right, all right. Now you heard you mention a nickname there. Why don't you say it one more time for our viewers or listeners to hear that nickname?
Yeah, well, when you try to say my last name, it comes out like Humbug. So that's kind of how we came out, was the Humbug family. So
I,
yeah,
I,
my
I
brother.
actually like that's a really good one. It's
Yeah, man,
always
it
the
worked.
stories behind the nicknames that make them great. Humbug, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, good.
Now, where you from, Peter?
I was born in St. Thomas.
I'm born in St. Thomas, born and raised in the Virgin Islands here.
Yeah, born in St. Thomas. Early years down by Limburg Beach. Then I grew up on the top of Rappoon Hill. Was my home till mid-teens. I went to Catholic school and Charlemagne High School, and then CVI. And then I jumped off to the States and went to university up in Northern California, a little school.
Listen, Peter, you're kind of showing your age now. You say you went to CBI. That's okay though.
People don't know
We
what
know it
CVI
it is CBI now. You're right, but you show your age just a little bit there.
is.
Now, when did sports start for you? When was the first time you were introduced to sports?
Yeah, my parents, man, they did a good thing. So my father was there in submarines and fell in love with the islands. Took my mom there in the honeymoon with a plan to never leave, and she followed him. So that worked out. And he decided, the place is just so beautiful for sailing and water sports. That's what he did. So he taught me to sail. Well, my mother taught me to swim when I could walk, before I could
Right.
walk. And then my dad taught me to sail at a young age, and that's when sports for me started off. About 4 years old is when I
Wow.
started sailing.
4 years old, you were already starting with swimming and sailing. That's an early age. Usually, the sports that we see starting at that age are sports like baseball and basketball, but swimming and sailing at the age of 4, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you do it for fun. It started out for fun, but then you put two brothers in a boat and it becomes competition pretty quick. So, and I
Now,
guess I have a thing for competing. So that's where
are you the older brother or the younger brother?
the sport was fun and games at first, but I'm the younger brother by
Right.
2 years.
You know what? What the younger brother syndrome is a real thing. You always want to compete. You always want to
Two
be
years younger.
better than your
John,
bigger
I
brother.
got an older brother, John, 2 years older than me.
Yeah, the younger brother thing is a real thing. You always want
Yeah, I
to be
agree. I
better
agree.
than him.
He pushed me all through life.
Right. Now, did you play any sports or did you do any other sports besides
Yeah.
sailing and swimming?
Nothing too competitive. In school we played baseball and football just for fun. I never got on teams or anything. Squash is a game. I don't know if you know squash, but it's we have one court on St. Thomas. It's a fantastic game. It's like racquetball, but I think even harder. So I
Mhm.
did play that pretty heavily for a long time because it's really physical, really hard. But no, I just ran for exercise. That was the first thing I did, and then I switched over to biking. So I bicycle now and I swim for fitness.
Now, how hard was it, or how difficult was it to not to go through school and not have these sports like sailing and swimming in the school system when you were going through middle school and even high school?
I wouldn't say it was a problem. Sailing was my backyard. You could have your school sports like we all do, and then you happen to play something outside of that, maybe like tennis, something like that, or boxing. So no, I didn't mind it so much. You finish school, it's healthy to have a sport after school. If you didn't have another sport, you get in trouble, right? So having my sport outside of school was probably a good thing for me.
This sounds like a regular day was go to school and after that you were on the water for as long as you could be.
Exactly right. It was our playground, man. I finished school, we'd find a ride out by the yacht club, get in our boats, and go out and play. So that was it.
Now, other than your brother, when did you actually start competing against others in sailing?
The first national competition I did, I was 9. So we would have been sailing against St. Croix in Puerto Rico probably when I was 8, something like that, maybe 7. We just had little races at the yacht club that my brother, me, and a handful of guys would go out and race around the buoys. But then my parents saw that we were good, so they sent my brother and I off to a national championship for juniors up in the States when I was 9.
Wow. And where was
Mhm.
that competition?
That was in Lake Michigan, outside of Chicago. And yeah, it was an eye opener. My brother and I raced together. And we actually fought on board the boat while we were racing. It was a funny story, but it was a big thing. It was good. I think we finished like 11th or something decent. That was good.
Now, how did that experience of you going away to actually compete kind of open your eyes to what you could do and how far you could go with this sport?
Yeah, you're exactly right. You don't know what you could do until you step out of your backyard. And so us going up there, John and I, once we saw that we were actually really good compared to kids from the States, gives you pride. You come from another country, so they kind of check you out. You feel proud of where you come from, and then to do a good job, you come back with a little more confidence, and you want more. So we did that every summer. My parents were nice enough to send us off to one championship every summer, and so I did that every year growing up.
Now, how easy did it make it that you have some of the most beautiful water in the world to sail in before you have to go away and compete somewhere else?
Yeah, it's only later in life when you appreciate that. Early on, it was a face. Um, but as you get older and you get smarter and you realize we are living in the best sailing place in the world, that's when it really hit home for me. It was later in life.
Now, when was your first major win or first national win that you had? You said you started at about 8 or 9, but when did you feel your first breath of success in the sport?
The first one that I really took note of was the World Championships. I was 16 years old, and they were going to have the World Championships in Ponce, Puerto Rico, in this boat that we were sailing in St. Thomas called the Sunfish. And so I said, I'm going to go ahead. It's nearby. I'll train for a while and go over there and give it a shot. So about 5 of us went, my brother, me, Chris Roseberg, a couple of adults, but most of us were kids. And out of more than 100 boats, I finished third in the Sunfish World Championships. And that is when I probably realized, I do have some skills because it was just after that when I went off to college.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
so
At
that was the
16
time that I
years old,
realized I've got something.
that's
Yeah,
definitely
it was
amazing.
good.
Now, throughout your sailing career, you said you competed with your brother. Now, when it comes to sailing, is it an individual and a team sport, or is it just a team sport?
Yeah, it's both. That's the cool thing about sailing, you know. Basketball, it's always team. I guess you could do one-on-one occasionally, but the sport of sailing, you can choose a boat that's either one person, two person, three person, or big teams. Um, a lot of mine success was one man boats. I did a couple of two-man boats, but when I took it to a higher level, I ended up going one man because we have a small pool of people there, and to find somebody committed to your exact level, I couldn't. So I chose a one man boat. Then it was my whole show, and I trained when I wanted. I did the type of campaign that I wanted.
Now, when you were doing two-man boats and things like that, how how did being a team player or how did being involved in team sports at that point help you to grow as an individual?
Yeah, it's a great thing. There's facets to both. To being solo, you have to be self reliant and do everything yourself. To do team, you've got to share the load and you've got to take advantage of everybody's skills. So when I did the team thing, it was with a guy named Cole Brokemarkle and Atomian as well. And we went off to Cuba for the CAC games. And he was just a great guy because you work with him through the whole program. You each come with different ideas how to make the boat faster. So I loved it as well. And it's to do team sports, you do have to share the ball, share this, the stage with another, but you want to take advantage of everybody's skills. And that's what it's all about.
Now, at the age of 16 years old, you saw your first real success. Was there any more success while you were under 18 before you got?
I got you frozen. Okay, you're back. Yeah, the sunfish was probably the first big one, because think about how old I was. I didn't tell you at all. I was a bad boy too, the sunfish result was good, but I was 15, 16, going in and out of school, chasing other things around the island. So I didn't buckle down until I went to college. So doing the racing at a young age was, yeah, I could give some licks, but I was also having a lot of fun. The big success came when I went to college. When I went off to college and went up against Americans in the college system and beat them, that's when I started realizing there's more to it. And I took it seriously.
Are we definitely going to get into that a little bit more with the college? Now, did CVI have a sailing team, or did you have to kind of find those matchups on your own when you were sailing? Got you frozen here.
Yeah, no, I did it all on my own. CVI didn't have a sailing team. Yeah, you froze too, but now you're back. How about me?
Listen, we're freezing here and there, but we're working it out. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna keep it going. Pretty good
You hear
interview
me?
going here, so let's not stop the momentum. Now, going forward, we talked about you sailing up to the point of 18. How often? Because we know baseball season, baseball here is year round. Basketball, you kind of play year round as well. How often were competitions for sailing when you were under 18?
I would say we'd have about three or four big ones a year between the championships with St. Croix. We had a Caribbean championships. We'd go over to Puerto Rico. We'd go over to St. Croix. But at our club, at the yacht club, we would have probably 10 races a year out of the club. So, and we sailed all year long because the weather's good.
Now, back into juniors and going back to the younger days, what age can kids officially start competing in sailing here on island or elsewhere?
Man, they're starting at a younger and younger age now, almost too young in my opinion. But you don't want to push a kid too early. I think you should love the sport before you start, diving in deep. Do it for love,
Right,
do it for enjoyment before you're trying to do what your parents want you to do. So,
right.
but you can start here now in St. Thomas. They've got races, kids 6, 7, 8 years old. They got little small boats, and they call it a race, but the kids are just having fun. So it's cool. It's 15, 20 kids out there going around the buoys. When they start getting serious, I would say 8, 9, 10 years old is when you start seeing them get serious.
As you went off into college, you said you continued your sailing career and you kind of went against people from other universities or different colleges, any of the big name colleges, or what's the biggest name college that you knew that had a sailing team at that point, or that you could sail against?
Yeah, man, that was good. I went to a small school in Northern California. I couldn't take the big city, so I went to a small town called Sonoma, but we raced against San Francisco, which included Stanford University,
You're coming a little bit choppy, but go ahead.
Berkeley University, San Francisco University or San Francisco State, and then we had a national one where we'd go up against Southern California, and then one time a year against the whole United States. So my little school did punch up with the big boys as well.
Definitely, definitely. I heard some huge schools there, some national championship winning schools, if I'm not mistaken. Is crazy. So competing against these schools, were you able to? I'm not sure. I think it might be yours. I think I got you frozen here. We're gonna go ahead and take a commercial break. Let you go ahead and
Let me change up and try a different one. Okay.
All right, no problem. We're gonna take a commercial break. We'll be right back with more of Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. No, I can't. All right, we are back here with more Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. Peter went and fixed his internet, so we should be good to go now. Peter, you still here with us?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here.
All right. I think we're ready to go now. You look smooth. You're flowing. You're moving well. I think we're ready to go now.
All right, cool.
All right, can you give us some of the names of those bigger schools that you faced again while you were in college?
Yeah, we were in the same district as Stanford University, Berkeley, San Francisco State, and then we competed with Southern California, so UCLA and the big ones down there too.
Now, in those matchups, did you ever feel like you were overmatched because it was a bigger school, or was there any adversity you had to face during those sailing competitions?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes us stronger, buddy, because we're the underdog. So I was a small school, and it fit right in with my lifestyle as well. I come from a small island.
Definitely.
So I personally think that's a strength. So I like being the underdog. We were the small axe. Nobody was gunning for us. And the same year that I showed up, a dude from Sweden showed up doing an Olympic campaign. And so this little sleepy school of mine all of a sudden had two guns. And it was fun to take down some of the big teams, you know?
All right, definitely a lot of upsets there, it sounds like, because, those smaller schools, when you see the Stanfords and the UCLAs and those kind of schools, you think that those, because they have better facilities, that they have better athletes, but that's oftentimes not true. It is built from within, and it depends on the team that the coach kind of puts together to really lead to success in those situations.
Yep, I agree with you.
Now, in those competitions, was there anything specific or any medals, any awards that you won during your year sailing there?
No, I don't recall any. I mean, we made good results for the year. I went to some big championships down south where I think we won as an unknown school. We showed up and won it. It was called the Keelboat Championships, the Interscholastic Keelboat Championships. Um, so no, the college sailing, that was like the high school for me. So as far as sailing career, college is when you really get down to business and sharpen your tools for bigger things. And that's when I decided I wanted to go further and do something more. That's when I realized how good I was on the world stage.
Right.
So, to be honest, while I was at college is when I started thinking about the Olympics.
A lot of school age children, they have that struggle going from high school into the collegiate atmosphere. What was the biggest adjustment you had to make being a collegiate athlete at that point coming from high school?
Well, we didn't have sailing in high school growing up. So for me, that was my high school, you know. I went from sailing at my club and around my islands to sailing at a college. So for me, that was just a fantastic experience, you know, to step into a school where they have boats for you, they have a team, you can pick your crew. And that's exciting stuff, you know. And the college supports us to go off and do our racing. That was dream world for me, you know. So
Right.
all good.
At that point, all you had to do was sail, right?
Yeah, exactly, and to
No
realize you
worries.
have something. That was my first time really seeing that I had a little taste of the other results, but this is when I went up against similar aged people and was able to, you know, get some good hits.
Now, getting into the academic part of college, what did you study while you were there at your university?
I studied business management, and that's more than just the name because I'm from my schooling in St. Thomas. When I went to college, I had no defined career that I wanted to do. So I wanted to take a little bit of everything. And luckily, I found a good instructor there, a counselor that allowed me to take everything. But my actual degree says business management. And that was me. I was a pretty organized, structured guy. And I figured it's a good skill to take it through life, you know. So that was my final focus.
Now, coming from a small island, you like you said, we kind of have our back against the wall already, where we got to fight to prove that we belong in certain situations. But was there any ever a time where you felt that you didn't want to sail anymore, that you wanted to give up, that it was too much for you to carry on with?
No, no, it blossomed from there, man. That from when I stopped playing in St. Thomas and fooling around and went off to college and realized sailing was really my thing, it was all uphill from there. There was never any hesitation. It got better. There might have been, you know, following one big achievement that I slowed down and wasn't sure what was next, but never questioned it. You know?
Now, you are one of the elite athletes of the Virgin Islands ever. You went on to the Olympics and you won in the Olympics as well. What was the path like for you from the collegiate level to actually competing in the Olympics?
Yeah, so you know, it starts as a child, and I just for people that don't know, because I'm amazed many people don't know, the Virgin Islands is a separate nation. And the way we got that was with some of our elders that did the work for us. They applied to the International Olympic Committee that we're so removed from the United States, they should let us be our separate nation. And I think his name was Len Stein. I think Edgar Isles, that generation above me that's opened the door and made it possible. And so as I grew up, I saw my elders going to the Olympics. So it was there. And then with college and opening my eyes to it, that's when I decided that there's a platform, there's a higher level. I really have. A, and so coming back from college, I set my sights on it. And I did my first campaign in 84. And so, yes, I'm older than you for sure. But the first one is your first chance, and you try to do your best, but you're realistic, you know. And so for me, it was and the money was constraining. I didn't have a lot of funds or any funds behind me.
Right.
So I did about a 1 year campaign, and I went to the Olympics, and I finished 11th out of about 36 boats in my division, which was called a fin. And so that was my first taste of it. And then to go right to your question, I then set my sights on the next Olympics to do a proper job. And I did the 88 Olympics and I got a silver medal there.
Now, what is the process of getting into the Olympics in sailing? Every sport has their own process. They have to go through several qualifying games or qualifying matches. What is the process for getting to the Olympics from here in the Virgin Islands through sailing?
Yeah, it's changed over the years. It used to be wider open. Now they've made the restrictions tighter and tighter, and they limit the numbers. So you do have to go and get a world ranking and be above a certain number. Kind of like swimmers, I guess, have to be a certain time to qualify for the games. So for sailing, every different class has its limiting number, and you have to qualify through going to world championships and having a good result. Back in my day, it wasn't so restrictive. So I could set my sights on the Olympics and know that I was going. It was a nice advantage to have, and do your training with your end goal in sight and train to peak at that exact time. So it wasn't as hard for me to plan.
So now in that 1988 campaign, if I got the year right, I think I got it right, 1988.
Yeah.
What was the process for you? Where did you go to compete? Where did you go to qualify? What was your world ranking at that point?
Yeah, man. Nice. This is the cool thing. Again, I was an unknown. The Virgin Islands, it's a dot in the map, What I saw in the 84 games, I learned from. And so I made my own plan. This is the biggest thing. I made a plan, and it was my own campaign, not some boilerplate campaign. I went to Korea, which is where the Olympics were going to be. These are the key points for me. I went to Korea and sussed it out to see what the conditions were like.
Right.
The different thing about sailing is it's not like track. It's not a 1,000-meter track that's made of asphalt everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere we compete in sailing is a different ocean, a different wind, a different current.
Right.
So I did some scouting, smart. I went to Korea and checked out the conditions and saw it for myself. And then the second thing I did, I trained at home in the Virgin Islands. And I'm proud to say I took what everybody calls a disadvantage and turned it on its head and made it an advantage. I knew in my heart we had the best sailing conditions in the world. Okay, we didn't have competition down there. So I went out and got competition to come in. So I think my business smarts, that's what I'm saying. My planning, I think, was my proud moment thing. So I went out and found a guy that I could attract to come move to the Virgin Islands and train with me there in the best conditions in the world. And so those are two of the key things: to scope out Korea and see what it was like, and then come back and train in exactly those conditions. Around our islands, we have every condition: smooth water, rough water, strong wind, light wind. And I could find the exact body of water that duplicated Korea. I brought in some competition to help me train, and those were the key points of my campaign. I guess a couple other things I want to share there is the hardships is what made me who I was and how that was successful. And an example of that is I was working to support myself and training at the same time. So I would work and then go out training. I find myself out and it's getting dark and I'm coming in at darkness. Well, guess what? I realized that if I could sail a boat with my eyes closed, it's going to make me a better sailor. So by the hardship of having to train into the evening, I realized that's a pretty cool way of training. So I started pushing it and training at night. And if you could understand this, by sailing with your eyes closed and you feel the boat and the wind and you sail it perfectly, imagine in the daytime when you can do that and use your eyes and look around for the next level of where the wind is going to come from, where your competition's going, all the while sailing automatic because you got it in your bones. Amazing. So that was one thing that I could say that, our little island and our harder road made me a stronger sailor.
Now that is elite planning there. You actually went, check out the waters, like you said, check out the environment, see how the water flowed, and you came back here to train in those exact waters. So I don't know. That is scouting at its best right there. Definitely gave yourself that advantage in that situation by being able to go there and see what the water is like and then come back here and put it in perspective for yourself. So excellent job on that. I would have never thought to do that. I would have probably waited till I went to Korea to try it. But that was excellent move by you, and it proved to work out for you well in those 1988 games.
Yeah, and exactly. And taking our islands, looking around at what we had that nobody else had. We had sail every day of the week all year long. I could train more than any other country.
Right.
So sit there and look around your backyard, find what we have as our strengths. And so I did. I took advantage of it. I brought in the competition and just, devoted those years to being the best I could.
Now with sailing, do you have a specific coach or do you have a trainer or do you kind of do all the work on your own in that situation?
I had no coach, no trainer. It was a one man show. And is coaching better? Yes, it is. Is it overdone? In my opinion, yes. And so when I showed up for those games, for example, the Americans, all those big countries, they had coaches, they had meteorologists telling them which way to go, which way the wind's going to come. When you are doing it by yourself and reliant upon only yourself, and you go out onto a strange land like that, I didn't have to think of what my coach told me which way to go.
Right.
I figured out on my own.
You felt it.
So there's an example of, again, no coach was maybe a good thing for me. I had to learn which way the current was going, which way the next wind shift was coming.
Yeah, you definitely took what would be a disadvantage, as we said earlier, and made it your advantage. That's an excellent job. I can't even describe it right now. That is remarkable altogether because when you hear about someone winning a silver medal, they're usually able to thank their coaches and their trainers, and you were your coach, you were your trainer, you were the athlete. You did it all on your own in that situation, basically. So that is an excellent job. You deserve 3 medals for that, actually, one for each person.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, now a lot of people helped me. I mean, you think about the people that gave me some money and supported me a bit to help me go. So make sure I thank all the ones that helped me. But
And
as far as
definitely,
on the water, I was doing it myself.
the guy that you got to move to St. Thomas as well.
Yeah, right. From Argentina.
Wow, he came a long way to help you out there. So that's definitely got to give him a shout out here. Do you want to tell us his name while you're here?
Gonzalo Campero.
All right, so big shout
Fantastic
out to
guy,
Gonzalo.
man. I met him in a third world training camp. The Olympic Committee, the IOC would put on these training camps for third world countries like us, and just to
Right.
help us out so we'd do a decent job in the Olympics. And he came, I came, there was a handful of us, and I just could see a good man. And so I reached out to him. I said, look, you're doing your own thing. I'll give you a place to live. I'll give you a boat. Our club fed us food. And so that's how I attracted him to come to my island.
Again, elite strategic planning there as well.
Yeah, it
Now,
worked out,
moving
man.
forward into the actual Olympic Games in 1988, what was it like for you the moment you were able to wear the VI colors and represent your country in that situation on the biggest stage in the world?
Yeah, la di, my son. To the end, the pressure is big, but to the beginning, again, I tell you, our small island is an advantage. Those countries that go there with the expectations of their whole country on them, I felt for them. I went there with, hey, man, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to fly my flag, represent my country. If I could finish in the top 10, I'll be proud. And so pressure, as you as an athlete would know, is the biggest inhibitor of peak performance.
Definitely.
Nerves, pressure, we're all human, man. And the Olympic stage, the lights are so bright. It's just your knees wobble. So my first race, I fumbled. I fumbled the ball, man. I got scared. I went the wrong way. I had a bad result. And we do a series of 7 races. Each race is about 2 or 3 hours a day. And we race for 7 days. So the first race, I got a 16th. That was nerves. The next 6 races, I was either first, second, or third in every race.
Wow.
So the fight came on. All it took was one oops, and you get the nerves out, and then you're fighting for what you love. The last race was big. There was about 6 or 7 of us that could medal. So it was all depends on how the last race went. It was the windiest race in Olympic history. It was blowing like 25, 30, like a storm, big seas. And that's where you just, you're nervous at first, you're careful at first, but at some point you just go with instincts and what your heart tells you. And I fought to the very end. I came inches from getting a gold, but I had about a millisecond of disappointment. And then I was proud to think, hey, man, I just won a silver.
Yeah, you were the second best sailor in the world at that point. That's definitely no falling short there. That is amazing to come from, again, where we come from, where is a small place where we're behind the 8 ball sometimes, where we don't get the opportunities, where we don't really get the exposure to these kind of things. For you to come from here and to win a silver medal, that is nothing short of amazing, and you definitely should be celebrated for that. Definitely.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'll just say that look around though. Look at who we have. From Julian Jackson, Timmy Duncan, Elia Boston. I did my thing in the Olympic arena. Our Virgin Islanders are doing it in other arenas. Amazing. So I'm proud to be amongst this group that is putting ourselves on the map. And yeah, man, it's good.
Definitely, we know for sure the Virgin Islands has talent. We just gotta do our best to put the athletes in the best situation for them to be successful. Because we know we have the next Tim Duncan walking around here. We know we have the next Aaliyah Boston walking around. We know we have the next Peter Holmberg walking around here. We just have to do our best to put those athletes in the best situation to make them successful. And if we support them, they'll be successful at whatever they do.
You're exactly right, my friend. You're exactly right.
Now, do you still have any footage or watch any videos or have any pictures of you while you at the Olympics in 1988?
Yeah. Every once in a while, somebody wants to do a story, so I got to dig up. I have a friend that worked at ESPN, so he actually gave me footage. So I have some footage that's tucked away that I can use when somebody wants to get a clip. And yeah, the pictures of the sailing and how windy it was. It's pretty cool to revisit those days.
Now, did you ever take another campaign to go back to the Olympics after 1988?
No, it's kind of cool. So I did those 2 games, and without the government or a federation supporting you, it's a lot of begging for money, to be honest with you. And just after I won my medal, professional sailing started. So my timing was sweet. I mean, the Olympics is the Mount Everest. I honor the Olympics as the best part of our sport, period. And it's holy, it's the best. To get your medal, to get your mark in the Olympics is the highest honor. But after 2 of them and then climbing that mountain and seeing the peak, I was ready for other challenges. And so with pro sailing just coming around, I got a lucky phone call. I didn't even know it was started. I got a phone call and I took the opportunity. So I went down to the road of pro sports.
Now, with pro sailing, what's the difference between pro sailing, you would say, and maybe collegiate or Olympic sailing at that point?
You get paid, man, and you do it full time. So it'd be like playing basketball around St. Thomas and then getting a call from the Spurs. It's like, wow, man, you're going to get coaching, you're going to get housing. So I didn't even know it was there. The cool thing is, it was nothing I was aspiring to do. I came back with my medal. Yahoo! I'm going to race in the Caribbean now. I got a medal in my back pocket. And it was kind of just a lucky surprise to see, wow, they're going to pay me to go sailing? Yeah, man, I'll do that. And it started out small. It started out with 1 call to go race for 1 boat. And I would say proud of my humble island style. The guy said, hey, I got another guy who wants you to race his boat. And then it just fed on from there. And then it was years later when I actually got hired full time and could give up my other jobs and just do it full time.
Now, where are some of the most beautiful places that you have sailed, or the most iconic places that you have sailed in races across the world?
I would say South Africa is probably the most exotic, cool place that I've raced. You feel like you're on the edge of the world, man. The wind hits you, almost knocks you down. It's windy, it's rough. You got whales jumping up around you.
Wow.
So that place is very cool, and the people, it's cool to go to South Africa, Europe is where I race a lot now, and I must say I really like Europe. Sardinia is probably my favorite place in Europe. It's an Italian island, beautiful, challenging, tricky. But I'm in Japan, Argentina, all over.
Now, you had me at sailing. I thought about going sailing. I thought about having fun until you said whales jumping out the water. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. That might have scared me. I might have fell off of the boat and been in the water with the whales, because I don't know if I could focus on sailing with whales jumping around me.
It's less risky than driving down this road at 45, my friend. So you should give it a try.
Now, you are still professionally sailing at this age, correct?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about sailing too. In my position, I'm in the back of the boat where the brains are and the leadership is. So, I'm still not the spring chicken athletic guy that I was when I was younger.
Right.
But the cool thing about the sport, my experience now is valuable. So I do get a lot of offers still. And yeah, I'm still competing. Not as much, I must say. You asked me if I raced last week in St. Thomas. No, I didn't. I enjoy watching now. I enjoy seeing the youth get up on the stage and get their prizes. And I'm getting pickier now. I take the big cool boats and the cool exotic places only.
You can afford to do that when you want a silver medal. You definitely can. When you have as much
Yeah.
experience as you have, you definitely can afford to be picky now.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break right here. We'll be back with more Between the Lines right after these messages. Don't you guys go anywhere. Our interactive portion is coming up next. We'll be right back.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for pondering. Whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for pondering.
Wait. Are you talking about this style or this style? Because I can also do like this style if you were talking about this. Or I don't know if you were talking about this style, because this one's kind of, but I don't know, maybe this one? Was it maybe more of a streetwear style, or this style you're talking about?
Yeah. Whoa. I know you want to, babe. Seems like you just can't get enough, no, babe. No, playing right to it, you know how I roll. This shit was just another episode. You got what you was looking for. Try to blame it all on me. You got what you was looking for. Cause you wasn't good.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for pondering. Whoa, whoa. Effort and build for it already. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, 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 oh. Effort and build for it already. Oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for it already.
All right, we are back with more Between the Lines right here, presented to you by Live Wire Sports. You are here with Shaq Richardson. We are also on right now with Mr. Peter Holmgren, our 1988 silver medalist in sailing. Peter, you still here with us?
Hey, man, I'm still here.
All right, all right. I want to get back into it a little bit here. Now, you said you are still sailing professionally. What do you do outside of professionally sailing still?
I exercise, I travel, sailing is my life. So now I'm managing a program as well. So the cool thing, even though I still compete, I drive the boats that I race. The more experience you can get involved also in what direction that team takes. So I sit on the committee. I'm the project manager, the race program manager for the boats that I race. So we design the type of boats, the sails, the crew. So I do management work at home and then fly off and compete in the races.
There's that business management degree again that you talked about, huh?
Yeah, it served me well.
Now, have you been into any coaching, any training of the younger athletes as yet?
Yeah, I do. It's tricky, once you coach, you can't go back. That's the only trick. I've been offered some nice big Olympic coaching for other teams, other countries, but I still compete. So I've keeping my feet mostly in the competition side. Now I'll help kids and programs every day of the week. At our yacht club, we have some great kids there growing up, but they have full-time coaching. I step in and offer my help anytime I am home.
Now, do you think this is a sport that we can grow and get it maybe into the schools where more children can kind of get into sailing?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And as well as me, sailing is not our national sport.
Right.
For various reasons, I'm not sure, but should we do more? Yes, absolutely. And there's some nice things happening now. It's a tricky sport to get into. It's not like a ball and you just find a hoop and you go play. You got to get a boat or you have to have access to the water. I think it starts with our elders, our parents, teaching their kids that the water is okay and what it offers us. So it's a bit of a cultural shift we should make. And I say we should, because if we were Finland or Norway, would you not take your child out and show them how snow is and how to ski and ice skate and those things? So here we are surrounded by the best waters in the world, but yet most of our population doesn't swim, sails, nothing. So I think it starts with the elders making some steps, opening the door. And man, you see it every once in a while. You see a kid who gets over the fears and looks underwater and goes, my God, look at this world, And so I would hope that we all do more to open the doors. There's a great program going on right now. It's called VI Professional Charter Association, but they're linked up with the Labor Department and the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands, and they offer free apprenticeship for anybody there in the island, for kids, I think 18, and there's a junior program for a summer sailing thing for free, and there's an apprentice thing for 18 to 25, where they will teach you all the boating skills you want for free. And some good steps are being made, and I hope it opens some more doors,
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. So we've reached to the end of our interview here. Want to get into our interactive segment. It's a game where we get to learn a little bit more about you and see if you can last to the end of the show. We got some questions here. We got to make sure that you have the right answers. I really might have to kick you off the show. I might have to. You're a good guy. I enjoyed your time here. But if you answer these questions wrong, I might have to pull the plug here.
Good.
All right. This game is called A Few of My Favorite Things. So I'm gonna ask you your favorite of each of these things, and I just want you to tell me what's your favorite, and we'll see if I kind of agree here. Why I like some of these answers that you're giving. So we're gonna start with your favorite color.
Blue.
Is that because you sail in the ocean?
No,
Is
it's
that where
because
that came from?
you got blue on your screen here, and I'm trying to kiss you.
Blue on the screen has. Listen, I like red. That's why live wires are red. Well, that's not why, but I love the fact that live wire is red because I am a red lover. But blue is kind of growing on me recently, so I'll definitely take blue.
Good.
Your favorite athlete?
Wow. Favorite athlete? Timmy Duncan.
Listen, excellent choice. You can never go wrong with Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is a lot of people's favorite athlete, not only here in the Virgin Islands. He's one of the greatest basketball players ever. Definitely can't go wrong with Tim Duncan. Favorite athlete, great choice. Your favorite musical artist?
Well, man, good questions. You didn't give me no warning for this, you know.
Oh, no, definitely not.
The legend Bob Marley, man. Sorry, some young people may not know him, but that fellow, you got to
Listen,
admit, he was gifted, the most
the
gifted
more we talk
musician.
about him, the more his music continues to live on. So we definitely gotta keep talking about the old school and talk about Bob Marley because if not, we don't want to forget him. We don't want the generations that are here now to forget how great he was and the once in a lifetime kind of artist he was. So Bob Marley, listen, you're doing pretty good here. You're doing really good. Great athlete, great artist. I like it. Your favorite hobby besides sports or sailing?
My favorite hobby besides sailing. Wow.
Besides sailing and besides sports, no sports.
Wow. Man, what else is there but sport? Let me think. Travel. Travel.
All right, you did say you do a lot of traveling. Where are
Seeing
some of
the
the
world,
most
seeing other cultures, you know?
Where are the most beautiful places you've been in the world? Your favorite places that you've been so far?
Africa.
What part of Africa?
Cape Town, South Africa.
I definitely got to go to Africa one of these years. Before I get too old, I got a long way to go, but definitely got to get to Africa. I just love how everyone talks about it. Love the culture that's there as well. So I definitely have to get there. Africa's a pretty good choice there. Your favorite sports team?
San Francisco 49ers.
Oh,
That's where I went college, man.
this yeah. I gonna leave that slide just because you went college there. But this is what we're talking about with this one strike and me kicking you off. Nobody likes the 49ers that like sports. Who likes the 49ers? We'll take that. That's a legendary team. They had a big run back in the 90s and 80s and stuff. So I guess we could take the 49ers.
Jerry Rice, my son, what do you mean? The all-time best.
Definitely, he's definitely the greatest. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't think anyone will pass him. And if they do, it's going to be a long time from now.
Thank you.
Your favorite academic subject?
Psychology.
Psychology. Where did your love for psychology develop?
Yeah, when I told you I studied business, and I would say this too, that in sport, you know, the most important part of your body to achieve greatness is right there.
Yep.
And so when I studied business, I also studied psychology. I was fascinated by just how we're wired. And in sports, it's one of my things. I really spend some time making sure my mindset is great for achieving what I need to achieve.
Okay. Now we get into the real good stuff now. Your favorite local food or drink?
Conch and butter sauce is my favorite food. My favorite drink, well, I'll tell you rum because it sounds good, but I like a good beer. I like a beer now.
That's two good answers there. Conch and butter sauce, and you say a little bit of rum never hurt anybody. Good answer. Your favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Ay. And I can't think of a sports movie. I'll tell you, I watched a movie the other day. It's my favorite movie right now. Coda, the one that won the awards.
Okay,
Let's call that a fishing movie with sports of fishing. That was a cool movie, man. This is what the world needed now. So that's my new favorite.
All right, so we got a favorite there. Your favorite sports moment that you were not involved in. So something you saw on TV, maybe something you saw maybe at the ballpark, or something that you saw that you were not involved in. Favorite sports moment.
I'm gonna say, if I don't know if I can name the game, but what I was most impressed by, my favorite, was what the Spurs did in their last championship run when they took a team of, I'm going to say nobodies, but no rock stars, and it showed the value of team. And I don't know which championship it was, but it was Ginobili, Timmy, and your boy Parker, and it was team. And what those guys pulled off, it was a big upset. I forget who they beat, the Lakers that year or whatever. But man, I just remember being touched by that forever, that team is more important than anything.
Definitely. I think that might be the year that 2013. I think the year that they beat the Heat in the finals, maybe.
Yeah, that might
That
be
team was pretty impressive. Let me see. And this is the one here. This is for all the marbles, Peter. This is the side if you're ever allowed on Live Wire Sports ever again. Your favorite tart: coconut, guava, or pineapple?
My favorite tart?
Yes. Coconut, pineapple, or guava?
Guava.
And you are never allowed back on the show ever. No one in the world likes guava tart. Pineapple is a close second when nobody likes it. I think pineapple tart is the only tart that should exist. Only pineapple.
That's the worst one I could think of, man. I don't like pineapple.
Pineapple, coconut, and guava is just there because it's there. Nobody eats guava tart. It sounds good, but it don't taste good.
I almost said coconut. That would have been my choice, but I went with guava because that's what I feel like right now.
You'd have had two bad choices. All right, but Peter, we want to thank you for coming on the show here this evening. You did an excellent job. We loved hearing your story, and we want to congratulate you again for being a big, big part of Virgin Islands sport history. Excellent accomplishment back in 1988. And you continue to do your sport here at a high level over 30 years later. So keep up the good work. We are proud of you. You are definitely one of the greats of the Virgin Islands athletes ever.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. I love what you're doing with your show. You do a great job. Keep it up, man.
Thank you very much. You want to give a shout out to anybody before we go? Friends, family, anyone?
Well, my brother John, he's the one that pushed me along from the young age. Definitely a big one to him. I guess Chris Rosenberg, one of my other rivals back in the day. Those are the guys that made me try so hard to be better. And then my parents, man, they made it all possible. Dad and mom, thank you very much.
All right, I just want to let you know you did an excellent job, so you can tell your family members to watch it now. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. Make sure they do get over and see it. Make sure they share it. You did an excellent job tonight here, Peter. And again, we love your story that came from this very small place to represent us on a national stage.
Cool, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
Yeah, man.
Okay, Live Wire fans, we'll be back next week with another episode of Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. Just remember, you can go, you can share, you can like all the things that we post on our page. You can go back to visit what we did last month for Women's History Month and Virgin Islands History Month, as well as you can stay tuned as we have a lot of sports coming up now. The kids are back on the field. The coaches are back on the field. We got sports playing. We got some videos coming. We got some information coming in as well. Follow your favorite athletes, both here and abroad, right here on Live Wire Sports. Also, don't forget to head over to our Live Wire Sports shop where you can find the latest gear of Live Wire Sports and support the brand as we build into the next big thing. It was a great show here tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week, Monday.
still I woke up today. Another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for it, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for it,